And conservatives abandoned our armed forces and shamefully abandoned our veterans.
I'm sorry. I remember something happening at a specific monument for military people. Heyo, and welcome to Today, where we are going to be delving into the world of Mark Carney and the things that he is talking about and all the stupidity that comes from it. And two of the videos I have not actually seen, so you're gonna be getting my, what's it called, a genuine reaction to it, or whatnot. Anywho, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so I ask that if you appreciate this video, hit the subscribe button. But without further ado, let us dive into the first video. That comes from Juno News, saying Mark Carney pledges to spend $2 billion to protect Canadian auto jobs from US tariffs. Now, I got myself my aging beaver, and so let us watch this.
And our auto sector has always been there for our country. So in this time of uncertainty and need, Canada will be there for our auto workers. That is why today I'm announcing that the new Liberal government will create the Strategic Response Fund. And this is a $2 billion fund that will protect the jobs of workers affected by President Trump's tariffs.
You know, I think it is funny how in the last video we went over, Mark Carney was in a construction site talking about things going on there, but now he's talking about the auto workers, and he's for some reason not in a place of business where auto workers are. I don't know who these people are. I don't know if they're auto workers, but the environment surely doesn't say auto worker. Why the change up? Maybe it's because the campaign didn't work in his favor. Go figure. He looked like a prick, so who could have seen that happening?
Much more than that. It will fortify the entire Canadian auto supply chain, from raw materials to finished vehicles. Because we're not just protecting the present, we're looking to build the future. We're creating new jobs.
Rather than, saving Canada money by not outright spending $2 billion for this, because that will return back onto the taxpayer, evidently. Rather than doing that, he could save everybody money. That would, in turn mean less taxpayer dollars to him. He could get rid of the carbon tax. He could just completely wipe that off, and he wouldn't have to spend $2 billion because, our carbon tax is rivaling that of the tariffs. He could just get rid of the carbon tax. Wouldn't have to spend $2 billion on this, but, heaven to Betsy, he wouldn't ever come up with that idea. Surely he actually cares about the Canadian auto sector or the Canadian people, right?
Under our plan, we will build an all-in Canada network for auto manufacturing components. Because on average, an auto part crosses that border, often through that bridge, over that bridge, 6 times before final assembly. And in a trade war, that's a huge vulnerability, tariff as it goes into the United States each time. So what we need to do is build more of those autos and more of each auto right here in Canada. In the new world, that will be an advantage. That will help insulate us from President Trump's trade threats. And it'll grow the economy right here in Windsor and across southwestern Ontario.
I mean, okay, the last part I don't totally disagree with, build the stuff here, but, I mean, that's what Poilievre has been saying. I guess that's what Mark Carney is saying. I still don't understand why the $2 billion thing is needed. I don't understand that. How about we build the things in Canada and we get rid of carbon tax and don't worry about having to set up a deficit to pay off said tariffs. We could just get rid of the carbon tax and it would be kind of the same deal that has already been happening for the auto sector. Could just get rid of the carbon tax, but that won't happen, right? That will surely never happen, especially with him being our leader, as he's talking about creating a $2 billion deficit for Canadians to deal with. And he's also talking about, just keeping the carbon tax, and so it'll just be the same issue. He'll have to spend $2 billion more later on, and then $2 billion more later on, because, why not? It's just a money pit where he can throw things and say, tariffs! Just a money pit. Now, in this next clip, it comes from government.exe is corrupt. He says, watch. Mark Carney says the Canadian Armed Forces are abandoned by conservatives. His government will unite Canada, its military, its people, and military. He claims Poilievre wants to be conquered by America, while only he puts Canada first. Anyone who believes Mark Carney is I think this is a bit interesting, going by how I not literally, but like about a month ago at this rate, I made a bunch of videos actually, talking about Poilievre, talking about building our military, talking about this very thing. He's been ahead of Mark Carney in this conversation about the military, but whatever. I guess let's continue.
These are challenging times. Our world is changing. It's becoming more divided and dangerous. Our adversaries are increasingly emboldened, and the norms that have kept Canada and the world secure are in peril. The priorities of the United States, once closely aligned to our...
I just realized this. Why... This clip is about talking about the military. Last one was talking about the auto people, and he wasn't in a place of auto workers. Now he's talking about the military, and unless these people are the people who are doing manufacturing for military stuff, I don't see military people here. I see construction workers. Maybe he had a different conversation amidst talking about construction workers. I don't know. It seems a bit misplaced. Like, I don't know how the people who he pays to make these functions aren't able to tell him, hey, maybe you shouldn't talk about this in this function because it's completely out of place. But I guess
we have to look out for ourselves, and we have to look out for each other. That's what my government is doing during this crisis.
That's also what his business is doing during this crisis. Moving his company to a different place. It's funny. He talks about building stuff in Canada, building cars in Canada, building manufacturing in Canada. But then, as he's saying that, he is actively moving his company to America. Can anybody tell me how this math equals math? I don't get it. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I am stupid here. But I don't think this math adds up. I don't think it does. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a yokel Canadian.
Well, President Trump's plan is to divide and conquer. Pierre Poilievre's plan is to divide and be conquered. His negative slogans aren't solutions. His anger isn't action. His division isn't strength. Negativity won't...
Also, I think it'll be interesting to make this note. He's talking about how Poilievre is dividing Canada. Meanwhile, Poilievre's entire motive is Canada first. Saying how Poilievre wants to be conquered, but he's talking about Canada first. How does the split personality work here? Poilievre is pro-Canada. He wants to build infrastructure in Canada, make money in Canada, make Canada what it can be, trying to build our military, trying to build our infrastructure, trying to build, make the Canadian life better. But at the same time, he wants Canada to be destroyed. any logic there, please. Any logic. I would so gratefully appreciate any formulaic logic in that.
Our military is still underfunded.
And you guys have been in for 10 years. Oh wait, right, but no one's to blame for the situation. No one's to blame for it. No one's to blame for it. You know, he's been in for 10 years and the Canadian military is still underfunded, but we're not to blame for it.
Under the last Conservative government, when Pierre Poilievre was a minister, that government was spending less than 1% of GDP on defense.
Sorry. I just had a thought in my brain. The amount of time that it has been since the Conservative government has been in power literally reaches the point of statute of limitations. What is, like, we don't care about what a did 10 years ago, but we'll care about what somebody didn't do 10 years ago, and not only that, but we'll blame them for the issue from 10 years ago. That is, they're literally complaining about something that is legally, I think, well, not the same, not even the same circumstances, but this literally passes the statute of limitations. It's been over 10 years about at this rate, like, and he's blaming them. He's blaming them. That is insane. How is he blaming them from 10 years ago? Dude, you've had 10 years to fix that problem. Oh, that's so stupid.
And Conservatives abandoned our armed forces and shamefully abandoned our veterans.
I'm sorry. I remember something happening at a specific monument for military people. I remember something happening about that. It's like, it's not actually on the top of my brain right now, but I do remember something happening there about Justin Trudeau and the memorial. And it wasn't good. You know, I like how he says that, but yet it is his political, party, political side is the people who love taking down historical monuments. Just love taking down historical monuments and defacing historical monuments and doing things with memorials. Like, how can he be the one saying that Conservatives have been not caring about the military, and yet his political party is the people who have been taking down historical things and not caring about historical things for the longest time? Anywho, I watched the rest of the video, not gonna include it, not really important, but gonna check out a different video, and this one is from Danielle Smith, and it's a doozy. I'll say that it is a doozy.
Are they for real? Do they really think that Justin Trudeau was the one out there advocating on behalf of the energy industry in the United States? The guy who imposed the No More Pipelines bill, the tanker ban, an emissions cap on oil, an emissions cap on methane, net zero power regs, net zero vehicles, net zero building construction? Mr. Speaker, those are all policies advanced by the NDP. It's the Liberal NDP coalition that is damaging this province, damaging our industry, and I'm the one standing up for it.
Now, to be completely frank, I don't have anything to say there. That was just entertaining to watch, and I thought maybe you guys would enjoy it as well. That was just an absolute smackdown on the NDP party there. That was beautiful to watch. Just the rolling burn we got going on here just keeps on going and going and going and going, and it's a perfect summation of what's all been happening that the NDP and Liberals have been advocating for. Anywho, didn't have anything to say there that was special. Now, interestingly enough, I actually have something that is a little bit funny to see. And I'm gonna just read this person out. They say, "This could be the first time I agree with the Bloc." From the National Post, Bloc Québécois, I think I pronounced that right, MP Dennis Trudel says he believes the US President Donald Trump's threat of annexation and tariffs are less threatening than the Liberal Party of Canada. Now that is interesting, that party is saying that Donald Trump is less frightening than the Liberal Party, less frightening than Carney. That is telling, very telling, which I will also say, this is kind of in conjunction with the other thing I talked about yesterday, where the Boilermaker brothers are advocating for Pierre Poilievre. A union is advocating for the Conservatives. This is all very interesting, and yet for some reason, when it comes to polling in Canada, it just so seems that everything is so lopsided and wonky going on. You see poll over here saying Liberals are winning. You see poll over here saying Liberals are winning. Liberals are blah, 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 blah. And then you go into the real world, and it just seems so completely against reality. You have unions backing Conservatives. You have Quebecers saying that the Liberals are terrifying. Or frightening, I guess. I don't trust the polls. And a lot of people today, for some reason specifically, have been calling out the boomers in today's society. Coming from Cat Canada, she says, "Why are boomers voting Liberal? Aren't they the hippies from the 60s who are pro-freedom, pro-free, and yada yada yada? They are royally screwing it up for the generations that come after them." And then it shows a poll where the 60-plus demographic is 50% Liberal. 50% Liberal. That is quite a lot. And while I don't totally think it is unfounded that a lot of, seniors vote Liberal, I will say that I don't trust the poll. I don't really trust the poll. I'm not giving out hope on to the older demographic. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. I think the poll is probably skewed in one way or another to show that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe boomers are voting that much Liberal, in which case, stop it. Get some help. But to go back, I think it is rather interesting in how people who typically would not be in favor of conservative type people are now coming out being in support for conservative type people. That is very telling. And in the current world where we have poll here, poll there, poll over there, talking about how everyone's voting Liberal, it's the new thing, I don't trust it. Because you look out into the real world and everything that should be typical for Liberals is going completely backwards. So, I don't really trust the polls, and I say that you probably shouldn't. Though, I wouldn't say interference is totally unsubject to potentially happen in the election. So, that could very well happen. But, anywho, tell me what you're thinking down below. Hit the subscribe button, once again, still on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I would greatly appreciate if you were to join us for that. But, that is all I really had to say today. Tell me what you're thinking down below, but I hope to see you in the next video. Though, until then, I hope that you have a good one.